1. Why do we hiccup? That sudden hic that ruins your sentence. That's your diaphragm, the sheet of muscle under your lungs, spasming out of rhythm. Normally, it contracts smoothly to help you breathe, but when it twitches, your vocal cords snap shut and produce that odd hiccup sound. The triggers can be anything from eating too quickly, swallowing too much air, carbonated drinks, or even sudden changes in temperature. Some scientists think hiccups are an evolutionary leftover from our amphibian ancestors. Tadpoles, for example, use a similar reflex to close their glottis while moving water across their gills. Others suggest hiccups help babies practice the muscle coordination needed for breathing and suckling. For adults, they don't serve much purpose beyond being mildly annoying. Most hiccups last only minutes, but in extreme cases they can last months or even years. The record? Charles Osborne, an American farmer, hiccuped continuously for 68 years, roughly 430 million hiccups. So next time you hiccup, remember, it's a harmless glitch in your body's wiring, but one with surprisingly ancient roots. 2. Why do our fingers wrinkle in water? After a long bath, your hands look like they aged 50 years, but it's not just soggy skin. Finger wrinkling is actually controlled by your nervous system. When your hands are submerged, nerves signal blood vessels beneath the skin to constrict. This pulls the skin into ridges, creating that familiar prune-like look. But why would our bodies do this? The leading theory is survival. Those ridges work like tire treads, helping us grip wet or slippery surfaces. In fact, studies have shown that people with wrinkled fingers can pick up wet marbles or coins faster than with smooth skin. It's nature's built-in rain tires for your hands. The effect disappears in people with nerve damage, which proves it's not just skin swelling. Instead, it's an active, evolved feature, one that likely helped early humans gather food in rivers or survive in wet environments. So the next time you stare at your wrinkly fingers in the tub, don't think of them as ugly. Think of them as proof that your body is still equipped for life in the wild. 3. Why do we dream? Every night, we slip into another world where logic bends and the impossible feels normal. But why do we dream at all? The truth is, nobody knows for certain, but there are fascinating theories. One is that dreams are our brain's way of processing emotions and consolidating memories. During REM sleep, the stage most associated with vivid dreams, our brains are almost as active as when we're awake. It's like a nightly cleaning and filing system for the mind. Another theory suggests dreams are an evolutionary defense mechanism, rehearsal spaces for survival. Nightmares about being chased by predators or falling may have once prepared our ancestors for real-world dangers. There's also the random activity theory, which says dreams are simply our cortex trying to make sense of chaotic electrical signals firing in the brain during deep sleep. Interestingly, blind people also dream, often with heightened sound, touch, and emotion. And while most dreams are quickly forgotten, they can shape how we feel the next day. Whether they're a mental workout, a safety drill, or just brain static, dreams remain one of the most personal mysteries of being human. 4. Why do we get goosebumps? A chilly wind passes or a powerful song hits its peak, and suddenly tiny bumps crawl across your arms. Goosebumps happen when tiny muscles at the base of hair follicles contract, pulling hairs upright. The reflex is called piloerection, and in animals it serves a clear purpose, puffing up their fur to conserve heat or look larger to predators. For humans, with far less body hair, goosebumps don't do much physically, but emotionally they remain tied to intense experiences. We shiver when we're scared, inspired, or overwhelmed by beauty. Neurologists believe this is linked to adrenaline, the same chemical that primes us for fight or flight. The adrenaline rush tightens skin muscles, quickens our heartbeat, and heightens awareness, sometimes giving us those waves of chills known as frisson. It's a relic of our evolutionary past, but one that still makes us feel alive. Think of goosebumps as the body's way of saying, pay attention, this moment matters. 5. Why do we forget things? Walking into a room and instantly forgetting why you went there feels like your brain betraying you. But forgetting isn't just a flaw, it's part of how memory works. The hippocampus, the brain's memory center, doesn't store everything. It constantly decides what's useful and what can fade. Without this system, our minds would be cluttered with every passing detail, from what socks we wore last Tuesday to the license plate of a random car we saw. Psychologists talk about the doorway effect. When walking into a new space, your brain resets its working memory, which explains why intentions vanish in the next room. Stress, fatigue, and distraction also weaken recall. But here's the upside. Forgetting helps us learn. By letting go of trivial details, the brain creates space for connections, creativity, and focus. In fact, some researchers argue that memory's real strength isn't holding on to everything, but knowing what to forget. 6. Why do our stomachs growl? That loud rumble in the middle of class or a quiet meeting. It's not your stomach begging for food, it's your digestive system cleaning up. The technical name is borborygmi. When your stomach and intestines contract to push food, gas, and fluids along, they create vibrations. On a full stomach, these sounds are muffled by food. On an empty one, the gurgles echo louder, making it sound like a protest. Interestingly, this process, called the migrating motor complex, happens every couple of hours, even if you're not hungry. It's your gut sweeping out leftovers, almost like hitting the reset button before the next meal. So, stomach growling is less a cry for food and more a sign that your digestive system is working exactly as it should. In other words, that embarrassing noise? It's your gut doing spring cleaning. 7. Why do cats always land on their feet? Cats have a reputation for defying gravity, and it comes from something called the righting reflex. By about 6 weeks old, kittens develop the ability to reorient their bodies midair. Their spines are incredibly flexible, and because they lack a functional collarbone, they can rotate their front and back halves independently. With a quick twist, they shift their body into position before hitting the ground. Their tails add extra balance, acting like built-in rudders. Even more amazing, cats spread out to increase drag, slowing their fall. That's why cats that fall from greater heights often survive better than those dropped from shorter ones. They have more time to prepare. It's called the cat parachute effect. So while it might look supernatural, it's really biomechanics, physics, and feline evolution combining into one elegant move. Still, probably best not to test the theory at home. 8. Why do knuckles pop? Okay, now the satisfying crack when you stretch your hands. It's not bones grinding or cartilage tearing, it's actually bubbles. Your joints are filled with synovial fluid, which lubricates movement. When you pull or bend a joint, you create negative pressure that forms gas bubbles in the fluid. The pop is either the bubble collapsing or forming. For years, scientists debated exactly what causes the sound. Recent MRI studies suggest the pop happens when the bubble forms, not when it bursts. Either way, it's harmless. Despite the old myth, cracking your knuckles doesn't cause arthritis. A famous doctor even cracked the knuckles on one hand for 60 years as an experiment and found no difference in joint health compared to his other hand. At most, frequent cracking might loosen grip strength slightly, so if it feels good, pop away. Just maybe not in the middle of a tense meeting. 9. Why do we blush? Blushing is one of those moments where your body outs you before your words do. You trip in front of a crowd, someone flirts with you, or you suddenly become the center of attention, and instantly your face flushes red. What's happening? The tiny blood vessels in your cheeks are expanding, sending a rush of warm blood to the surface of your skin. Here's the strange thing. It's completely beyond your control. You can fake a smile or hide a frown, but you can't stop a blush once it starts. And that's what makes it fascinating. Charles Darwin even called it the most human of all expressions. But why evolve such a giveaway? Scientists believe it's social. Blushing acts like a built-in truth detector, a signal that you care about how others see you. Instead of making you weak, it makes you more trustworthy. Experiments show people often forgive and even like someone more if they blush after a mistake. So while you might wish your cheeks would behave, blushing is actually your body's secret ally. A silent, red-faced way of keeping human relationships honest. 10. Why do we snore? Snoring might sound like harmless noise, but it's your body struggling with airflow. As you sleep, the muscles in your throat relax, narrowing the airway. Air passing through vibrates soft tissue, creating the sound. Snoring is more likely when sleeping on your back, after alcohol, or as throat muscles weaken with age. In some cases, it's just noisy, but in others, it signals sleep apnea, where breathing actually stops for seconds at a time. This can lead to fatigue, heart problems, and other health risks. Snoring isn't unique to humans. Dogs, cats, and even gorillas snore. And while partners might find it unbearable, simple fixes like side sleeping, weight loss, or nasal strips can help. So if you're a snorer, you're not alone, but if it's more than noise, it might be worth checking with a doctor. And that's it for part 2. Funny, isn't it? The things we brush off as random quirks all turn out to have deep roots in survival, biology, or just the weird way our bodies evolved. It makes you realize we're carrying around a lot more history than we think. If you had fun learning with me today, make sure to like and subscribe, because the everyday world isn't done surprising us. There are still so many mysteries hiding in plain sight, and we'll be digging into them in the next one.